Hey,
Hi.
hello.
Hi, everyone. Wave.
Hi there.
Um, Welcome to Know Your Roots. So, if you don't know, this program is brand new and it's about discovering who my family is, including my ancestors. So, I'm starting with family that I have surrounding me at this time. And my auntie here is going back to New Zealand. Excuse us while we eat, because that's just what we do. Um, and we have to share a mic, so if we're not clear, you'll have to turn the volume up on your screen. So, um, what this is about is my auntie is going to introduce herself, and between all her nibbles, she eats like a rabbit anyway.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to ask her a few questions, and we'll just see where it takes us. And hope you enjoy, and subscribe so you can follow us, and we'll see how we go. So, who are you?
I'm Miri.
What is your full name?
My name is Aunty Dian, Piwari. I'm 67 years
Wait,
of age.
wait.
What?
It's
Well, I
not
thought
Dian.
I'd get into. Yeah, yeah. Well, it is Dian, it's got no E.
It's Diane.
Oh, yeah, so that's
But
one
to
of the
flash it
names.
up, we
Yeah,
call
flash
it Dian.
Dian, okay. I like Dian because it's flash. Yeah. The Aussies gave me that name, but it's the way it's spelled.
Okay, and how old you were saying? How old you were?
I'm 67.
Yeah.
Yep. Now my butter's gone everywhere. Yeah. Born on the 17th of April 1951.
Where were you born?
I was born in Wellington at Wellington Hospital many years ago. and lived in Piwari-Rukuata.
And how are you related to me?
Through your father, who's my brother.
Yeah.
That's how I related through your dad.
Cool. And where do you sit on the family line?
Well, actually the second eldest. I have a half brother who's older than myself. So we've always classed him as our brother. We've known him very young that we have another sibling, who is 4 years older than me.
But he didn't grow up with you guys.
But he
right?
didn't grow up with us.
What's his name?
His name is John Kershaw, and he was brought up by my mum's auntie from the coast, and her name was Nanny Sid McElroy. So he was brought up on the East Coast before moving to Hastings. And so we've always classed him as the eldest, so I guess I'm the second eldest, but in reality, I am the eldest. Yeah.
And you were supposed to be a twin. Is that
Yes,
right?
I was supposed to have been a twin. I didn't know that for quite some time. Apparently, I was a twin. I always felt that there was somebody else around me. I felt sometimes I'd be looking at a twin, but not there. And it wasn't until my mum explained to me that I was a twin. Yeah. And so that came later when I was old enough to understand what that meant. Yeah.
So, and how many siblings do you actually have?
I got 5, 6, 7, 8.
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. Nine. There's 9 of us.
Yep.
I have 2 other sisters and 5 brothers.
Yep.
I think that's right. 5 brothers.
So we've got you, Uncle Ray,
Yep.
Uncle Dan, Dad,
Yep.
Uncle Mark, Uncle Ed, Uncle Tam, Auntie Rangi. Who am I missing? Uncle Sunny.
Sunny and Tamati.
Not got him.
Hera?
And Auntie Hira.
Auntie
So
Hera.
10. There's 10
There's
of
10,
you.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, and we're all sort of born fairly close to one another. You get to the
Thanks, Nan.
you get to the youngest ones, being pretty much spread out. So there's 10 months between myself and the next brother, and 2 years between the next two brothers. Their birthdays on the same day. So yeah, they say they had no TV in those days, you know.
And your proof?
And proof for that?
10 times proof?
Yeah, 10 times that. And somewhere along the line, I don't know. You know, there's a bit of a gap. There's a bit of a gap too. Not much of a gap though between myself and the youngest one, anyway.
And I heard Nan had more children. Had they have survived, there would have been around 16, 17?
Yeah, 17
years?
actually. There would have
Yeah.
been 17, but she had a few miscarriages
Yeah.
over that period of time. So otherwise, we would have had a family of 17
Yeah.
all up.
Huge.
Huge.
Which was that
Oh.
common?
Yes, in those
Back
days.
in those days?
Yeah. If you had children, you had children.
Yeah.
As far as we know. So we just had to look around us. There was big families around us.
So can you just tell everyone, so for those that don't know, in New Zealand we identify where we're from the surroundings, like the mountains and the marae and where our people settled. So can you just tell us what you know about where we're from?
Okay, where I'm from is originally, because you go by where you're born, is Takipuahia, Ngāti Tō, which is in Porirua, and so we come under that iwi as of from then, knowing that our mum also comes from the east coast and our dad came from Taranaki. So we east and west and south, really. You know, that's how far it goes. So it's a huge kaupapa.
Yeah.
And I have to give it to my younger sister, who has done all this research as far as the whakapapa is concerned. It's huge. You need to sit down and really go through it all, you know, rather than talk about it on video. But it's interesting because we find that where we've been living at Ngāti Tō over the years, that we are affiliated with that iwi, and that's going back on our nanny side, who was from Taranaki, and also our grandfather's side, which is really interesting to know where our connections there. Now, to get into detail, I could be here for a long time, but to keep it short, we find that we very much belong at Ngāti Tō. Okay, so that's where we were brought up, down there in Porirua and Titei Bay, so that area. So I affiliate myself as being from there, but also knowing where my dad came from and where my mum came from. Also my grandfather from the Chathams, my nan from Waitara, all those areas where my dad grew up in Bell Block way back then, before they moved to Porirua. So there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of kaupapa that the younger sister has put together, and I have to take my hat off to her because she has all that info, and it's there for the whānau to ask anything. And I find that that's more appropriate, because I remember my mum saying to me that she would take the reins there. And I said, and that was many, many years ago. So I understand what she meant by that.
So when you're talking about the younger sister, you're talking about Aunty Rang, right?
Aunty Rangi, yeah, she's young, Aunty Rangi, and so, but I know she has all the material there, and her research has taken her much further than expected. But then again, sometimes the information has come to her, or she seems to be at a certain place where she's able to just rattle it off with whoever she's talking to. And I said, so it goes way back. And even for me, at this stage, it's a lot to take in.
Yep.
It's a lot to take in. Maybe because I've been doing my own thing.
Yeah.
But it's her going through it slowly, explaining who's so-and-so.
Yeah.
So in reality, I would suggest that for the whānau that really want to know, that I think a lot of you know that Aunty Rangi has this information, and it's there.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it all, that we've got others that have come in there who are able to fill in the pieces. They belong to so-and-so, and it's amazing because they find that missing link.
Yeah.
That about whānau, that they didn't know about, and how we have cousins, we have aunties all over the place. Yeah, but they are real cousins. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're real aunties and they're real uncles, so that's where it's out there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to take a quick break,
Yeah, we're gonna
and
have breakfast.
we're going to have breakfast before it gets cold. Okay, we're back, and had a big kai, and shout out to Armadale Park Cafe and Eva and her team. Had a mean feed, but we're going to catch up. We're going to carry on with our interview. Say who you are again.
Dian.
If you don't get the joke, watch beforehand. Okay, so we were just so I'm going to ask you a few questions about your childhood, and so you had 10 siblings. Uncle Sonny died when he was 14, and he died of leukemia. And what was your what is the best childhood memory that you have of the family, or something that you experienced when you were younger?
Being up the bush, playing up in the bush.
In the hills?
Up in the hills with my brothers. Sliding down the hill on a cardboard. Playing cowboys and Indians.
Because you were a bit of a tomboy, right?
Oh, yeah, I had to admit that. I mean, my mother bought me a doll. So I took all the clothes off in the arms and used it for a gun. Took all the hair off it. Well, I sure got a hair raising up my ass, but yeah. So I have great memories of that with my other siblings and next door neighbour.
Yeah. Who was that?
Oh, the Pradas and the Rawidis down the bottom. You might as well say just about the whole street. Yeah, they were good times. Good times. And that we didn't want for anything. And we had our own gardens and things like that. And we had to take care of it.
So we were just talking about before, while the camera was off, that you were, for a period of your time, you were raised by someone else. Can you talk a little bit about who that was and how you came to be there, from what your understanding was, and what that was like, being separated from the nani and koro?
Okay, I was whāngai by my father's half-sister. At an early age, I would say around about 8, where I was living with my parents and the rest of the siblings, and next thing I knew, I was taken from the house. And I thought we were just going somewhere to have lunch with Auntie and my grandmother. I didn't know who the other lady was with them, but the thing is, I never went back. And I couldn't understand why I was there. And all of a sudden, I didn't see my parents, I didn't see my siblings, so I had a really mixed, mucked up mind there. Yeah, I know my grandfather and grandmother were around. I didn't really know my auntie, but I have to give it to the uncle. We called him Uncle Bill, and he was hilarious. He had such a sense of humour, and I think through him kept me sane. Yeah, he was just a wonderful. He had a wonderful personality and his character, so which my auntie didn't like because he was really cheeky. But yeah, so didn't really know why. It's not until later, much later.
And Aunty Hera joined you at what age?
I think she was around about 9 months.
And that was the first time you met her?
Yeah, all of a sudden I see this baby. He's got all this gollywog hair, it's pitch black, all curly, and it's the first time I see my sister.
And did you ever go back to be with the family?
No, not for a long time. We were allowed one Sunday a month. And we didn't live far from our parents, but it's like having to have permission from the auntie. And when time came around to go and visit our parents, she would say yay or nay. So it came down to what she said, and I said 9 times out of 10 she would say no. And that was the heartening part, because you get all worked up to go see your brothers and your mum and dad. Sometimes brothers you never met. They have mums already had children, but you've never met them. And yet they were only maybe 10, 15 minutes away from us.
So, do you, would you change anything about back then, or because things happen for a reason, we don't necessarily understand what they are, but would you change anything about that, because essentially that's shaped who you are as a person today, right?
Would I change it? I think it could have been done differently. I mean, I was 8 years old, but it would have been nice to know where I was going, and why. Because it's years later before I understood why. And to me, that wasn't a really good reason. Had nothing to do about me or anything. It was just circumstances, But that was what they did in those days, they just took you. They just took you.
In your opinion, did Nanny and Koro, obviously they have a past and they were party people, and Nan was, from the stories I've heard, Nan was a good mum. But in your opinion, were they good mum and good parents?
Oh, very much so. From what I can remember, right up to that time, they were good parents, even though they drank a lot. They always made sure we were fed. But you know what? They had the greatest sense of humour. We had no TV. We had a piano and an old radio, and that was it. But there was always music, and that's what I remember. Dad playing the guitar. So it was a very happy household, and I called it freedom, because you had all this freedom to run around, and also learn to speak your mind. You never held anything back. Well, I never did from my parents. So we didn't have much. But we were happy.
What's your fondest memory of Nan? Or the funniest memory?
The funniest memory, I think it comes out in us, in each one of us. We come out with things that everybody would get afraid, because that's who we are. And Mum she was crazy. Didn't matter who was sitting around, what would come out of her mouth. It didn't matter who was listening.
That's where I get it from.
So we all get that trait somewhere. We all got that, and we just don't bother where we are. But it happens.
What's your fondest memory of Koro?
I think for me, he was always there.
I always remember, I knew that he was a bit of a party boy, but growing up, I always, you're right, he was always there. Very gentle, very loving, one was always willing to show or teach. He tried to show me how to scale a fish and gut a fish. I'm like, no. No, thank you. It's wrong, Moko. I remember he took me fishing, and we didn't have any baits, and so we'd have to go underneath the wharf to get boo-boos. And I'm like, no. I don't want to touch him. But you're right, he was always there.
And he was very protective of his girls. Mind you, he gave us, the lesson on on sexuality, everything at an early age, and he told us, "Better not come home with a baby." Yeah, no worries. There was the boys, but very protective of his girls. If anyone harmed them in any way or abused them, he was there. He wouldn't tolerate that, and that was our dad. I think we were his princes. We could get away with anything we wanted, but in a good way. Yeah, and we loved him to the max.
Okay, so changing direction. You, what schools did you go to? Primary schools, high school, and did you go to university?
I went to three different primary schools. The first one was Chite Bay North. The other one was Chite Bay School, and then Ngati Toa. And I won a scholarship to go to Hokorere at the time, or just a normal college. So I went to Mana College, had 4 years at Mana. I got my UE entrance, but decided not to do it. And instead I only worked for 6 months after I finished high school, and then went to Rotorua.
And from that point, so Rotorua, what did you do in Rotorua, and what happened between that and then meeting Uncle John and that phase of that's part of your life?
My life. My first job was in a hotel in Rotorua. I walked the streets looking for a job. I got one as a receptionist at Travel Lodge in Rotorua, and I was there 8 years. So in between that time, I stayed with an uncle and auntie, and then I got my own place, and that was cheap. Yep. Yeah, only $3 a week. Oh my God!
But what was your wages?
$6.
Oh my gosh!
I managed to do my hair and everything with that, buy my clothes, but it was a lot of money. Yeah. And then I got a pay rise.
Oh. $7.
$8.
Oh my God!
And then I got asked to a salary package. Okay, which meant so I took it. And to me, that was a lot of money, $80 a month. Yeah. And my boss held on to my wages. Yeah. He would bank and just give me the basic $10 a week. Hey, that's a lot of money. Yeah. But I learned to save, and so I had the best time ever there. I had really good bosses. They taught me everything about the hotel industry, the tourism, everything. They taught me everything, even how to use the old telex machines and bookings, got to travel. Spent a lot of time overseas with her sister-in-law, organising tours for and promoting New Zealand also, yeah. So, best job I ever had, and great teachers.
Okay, so you're there in Rotorua. At what point did you meet Uncle John? And did you know him beforehand?
Oh, how I met Uncle John. He used to come and pick up his mate's girlfriend. She worked in the restaurant. And so she always used to say, "You want to come?" I said, "Oh, no, mate, it's all good." Because I worked 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. So that was me. I just worked. So one night he came in with her partner and talked me into going. And my boss came out of the office. He said, "Take her, take her out for the night." And he told me, and it's all right. I'll come in and open up in the morning. It's all good. So that was how I met Uncle John. Yeah. But he had his girlfriend with him. It was yeah.
Oh, you're a homewrecker?
No.
Oh, sorry. On behalf of New Zealand.
And yeah, just friends, they get me out, yeah. But he's still with his mate. For his mate, come pick up this other girl, yeah. You got to know quite well. And then they were asking me, you coming? So, so that's a month later I decided, okay then, well, there you go, have a night out. And she wasn't there. And I just know, he was starting to become a pain.
Oh,
Well,
it must be genetic. That one maybe.
Yeah, he was just there. Because I used to walk to work every morning and there's the car filling up, yeah. You want to lift to work? My God, who does that at 6:15 in the morning? He takes me to work and I get out. Thank you very much, see ya.
Oh, did you play hard to get, eh?
Well, I thought I did. And that's how I met him.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen overnight sort of thing, Yeah, I guess I played hard to get. I think I just had work on my mind, I was a workaholic.
And so how long after did you get married?
Um, I got married at 21. Yeah, got married at 21.
So, and how many years was that after the first meeting? Or months?
Oh, months. Hang on.
Days. Oh.
Hang on. I think we were together 4 years before we got married. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later we had Johnny. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Just like that. So it's all about a waiting game. Yeah.
okay, so you've had Johnny in New Zealand, and then you've moved to Australia, and then somewhere along the line you've had Mark. What have you learnt most about yourself as a mum?
As a mum, I think it changes everything. Your perspective about a lot of things. It's not all about you anymore or your partner. You have another sibling. And I think back now, thank goodness we only had 2. How did mum and dad cope with 10 of us, And we're all crazy. And I've got 2 that are already crazy, plus an extra girl, but hell. But yeah, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Best thing ever. Makes you put things a bit more into perspective of what you do with your life, because you now have another one in.
Oh, hey. That's okay. We're just doing a bit of an interview. Can you turn the thing? This is my Aunty Dian's moko, cousin. This is our cousin. And so, yeah. This is Roy. You can pause, babe. You can pause. Right, let's just keep rolling. Because someone's going to lose his life today. Okay. So we're talking about met uncle, moved to Perth, moved to Australia, had the 2 boys, and you were talking about what it was like to be a mum. What have you learnt most about yourself, though?
Oh.
You have no tolerance for rubbish.
It's not all about you anymore. You learn a lot. You learn a lot, believe me, you learn a lot. The responsibility, I guess. Yeah, there's more responsibility in children than anything else. Yeah. And you think you have a fair idea coming from a large family, because you have to look after one another. But when it comes to your own, you own your own. And that's where it all begins. You become a parent.
Yeah.
So you're just reflecting on how you were brought up.
Yeah.
And it's what you install in upon your own children. Yeah, you ask for help. Yeah. Why is my baby always crying? Well, I didn't know I ran out of milk, so needed to be on a bottle.
Wait, is that Mark? Did Mark drink you dry?
No,
Oh.
no, it was not Mark. Oh, that one there, he just didn't get off the tit. Johnny, no, it was Johnny. I actually ran out of milk, did not knowing it. So, that part is where my mum came in and she said, maybe got no milk, girl. So good old Glaxo in those days, he had 2 bottles. So slept like a log, woke up, I had another 2, so yeah. And that was over a period of hours, maybe from the night before to the morning. I fed him, but he always cried, so that was my first lesson of knowing how when your children are hungry. When they're hungry, it's a different cry, and when they've done something and they're nappies, it's a different cry again. Yeah.
What is your, what do you think, or what do you believe to be your greatest sacrifice being a mum, being a parent?
Oh, I don't call it a sacrifice, but it's everything. It's everything.
Brain,
Your brain,
body.
your patience, your body goes out of whack. That's not on, All of a sudden you got big tits and what have you, and they don't go away, and you're hanging out. Sleep. Yeah, sleep. Yeah.
What if, what did you want to do as a job growing up? What would be your dream occupation?
Well, it's 2 things. My first one was a hairdresser. Second one was to be a teacher. Yeah.
Teach what?
Anything. I wanted to be either a school teacher or a teacher of some sort. Yeah. But I always wanted to be a teacher. Hairdressing, I loved hairdressing. I did a lot of hairdressing in the street that I lived in. Yeah, so just doing, fascinated with different styles of hair and doing hair and what have you.
And did you play any sport growing up?
I always played sports. Netball, softball, basketball, yeah. Swimming, yeah.
Oh, we've sort of gone backwards, haven't we? But anyway,
Doesn't matter.
did you go on a lot of dates?
I broke a lot of hearts.
Sorry.
And they became very good friends. That is the difference. Yeah, so, had a lot of great friends, but there was a few that wanted more, and I said, nah. And my dad would always jump in, you have to wait till she's 21, and that would just put the kibosh on everything. So I had a lot of friends, yeah. But, there was a few, yeah, but nah.
What advice would you give mums or new mums or mums today?
Oh, new mums. Oh, well, okay, new mums. Oh, tell your own children not to get hooked up, before time. There's a lot of things that they can be introduced to without having to be pregnant before their time, yeah. Because sometimes, 9 times out of 10, you're not ready for it. And it means putting your whole life on hold. For some it can work, for others it won't work. It's just the pressures of it all. So I think it's to be forthright with your children, because everything moves very quickly in this day and age. Every child knows everything before you do. Yeah. So it's getting in early. Yeah. And just to the new mums, is sharing, very much so, and not to hold back, and just be one with your children. That's it. Yeah.
What are you most proud about when it comes to Johnny? Like, what are you proudest about him? Does that even make sense? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, that makes sense. I watched him for the last 4 months. I think I've always known it, but what a great dad. He's not only a great dad, he's a great mum. Um, where his lady works and he's the house bitch. So he has to do everything, but he does it without a mumble grumble. And I think that's where it's at with Johnny. He's grown so much as an adult, as a person, and very happy in himself. And I see that reflection with his family. So I'm very proud of what he's done and achieved in his own life for himself. And he's at a good place, a really good place right now.
What about Mark? What are you most proudest about when it comes to Mark?
Oh my God.
He's very much his own person.
Oh, he is very much his own person.
Actually, he's very much you. Yeah.
He's very much like me. Yes, Johnny's very much like his dad. Very quiet, but really not. There's that other side that comes out that looks like, reminds me of myself. But with Mark, right from day one, he was a big mouth. He didn't sleep. He always howly begged, but always he loved going out. Yeah, he loved going out. What can I say? Yeah, with this one. It's a reflection of myself, what I should have been. And somehow I didn't do that. Yeah.
No Range Rover for Aunty Dian.
But yeah, very proud of him too because, I think he grew up well before his time, but that's the way it is. He can't help that.
Very mature.
At an early age.
And he's got certain gifts that sort of required him to be mature.
Mature and
direct.
And that's, I guess in some way, I wish it didn't happen to him so young, but it has. And so what wasn't told to me, I was able to help him there. Yeah.
So just to explain what, like we've mentioned that he's got certain gifts, just without going into too much detail, just sort of explain what we're talking about so that whoever's watching this video sort of gets an idea of who this person is.
Okay, I'm talking about our spiritual self, the gifts that we all naturally are born with. And for some of us, you're able to recognize it, some not. And that's okay. But I guess if one is chosen, there's no two ways about getting away from it. It doesn't matter about what religion you belong to, but everyone, I still say, is gifted somehow. Whether it be, through the healings of your hands, but even just sitting, talking to people. I mean, it comes in many forms. So that's the type of gift he has from an early age, and even now, but hey, this is the real world we live in, and it's not about controlling, it is what it is, and know when to just step aside from situations and things like that. So, but I do believe that there is someone out there, doesn't matter what you call them or who they are, what denomination they are, but that's always there, it's always there. I'm a great believer that you always got a friend, and sometimes that friend you don't need to see, just know. So I guess that's where it is, the gift of that we have in us is to be able to communicate with us, to be able to feel. And I think that's all about compassion, comes with compassion in yourself, and very open-minded to things. Sometimes it can be a cruel world if you're inclined to be that way. So you tend to clam up, but you learn when and when not to. and what's real and what's not real. Yeah, and I think that's what the gift is to recognize that we would definitely not learn anything if we didn't cross those borderlines somehow, and how we would deal with it, how strong your faith is to be able to deal with any situation, okay, rather than dwell on it and just go nuts. There's always a solution to it, but it's just taking time out, take a deep breath and let it go, and then look at it for what it is. Yeah.
Cool. What does it mean to you to be a grandparent?
Ah, awesome. Yeah, it's different. I understand how mum and dad felt with their grandchildren because it was totally different to us. We got waxed, the grandchildren don't touch it, so you get all that. But I understand that. I have grandchildren of my own, and I think, yeah, good, and it's just like, even though I now live in New Zealand, I miss them. But to come back and see them, and you see their different personalities, how they've grown. I'm still their nan. I'm their mighty nana. Yeah, and that's all good. But it just changes everything, the whole perspective of it. Yeah.
What do you believe to be your greatest achievement?
To be myself, to be able to
Know who you are.
who I am. I no longer hold back, but open up to know who I am, not what other people wanted me to be or perceive me to be. I struggled with that for quite some time, but now I know who I am. And I can't help that. Yeah, and it just happens. That's who I am. If I've got something to say, I'll say it, but in a good way. I always say it in a good way. But if I'm angry, I'll say it in a way they get it. But I think I've achieved that. I'm no longer a sausage, where I never had a brain or been squeezed. I never had a brain. I never had an opinion. That's all gone. It's all gone, and I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy where I'm at now. That I got that voice. If I want to be heard, I make sure I heard. Yeah. If not, I just let it go. Over my head, no, waste the time. Yeah, but I've learned that. But I like who I am now. Really do. Yeah.
So, well, that being said, describe yourself in 3 words.
I love me.
That's cheating. No, but that's nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, because there's been times where Mark has sort of acknowledged even that even though you were happily married, you still had limitations on what you could and couldn't do, and certain times where you would have to ask permission to do certain things, and he acknowledges that and acknowledges that that's not necessarily how one should have to behave or be in a marriage, and so that's huge, and I think for your son to see that and acknowledge that, that's eye-opening for anyone.
Have to, and that is the difference. Always have to ask, especially for things I wanted to do. Yeah, and I either got a yes or a no. But somehow, if I really wanted to do it, I did it. Even if it means going behind my partner's or my husband's back, I still did it. The only way he found it is for him to see it. And then he knew what I was saying. This is what I would like to do. Yeah. And he came along to one of the meetings. Yeah, that was it. So he never said anything. So that was a new beginning. Yeah. But I still like to continue in that side of light of work. But I think you do it every day. With people. Different ones that walk into your life. I think you do something every day, whether it be through conversation or meeting somebody on the street. That's the real work. It's the people out there, not just confined to your family. That there are people also who just like to say hello, You don't have to know them, but I think that's nice, yeah. And I think, I think I truly believe that that's my teaching, yeah. Always wanted to be a teacher of some sort, and I guess I put it down to that.
What brings you peace? Because as for the last couple of years or so, I've realised that there's always an endless pursuit for happiness, and happiness, whether it takes the form of money or travel or blah blah blah, people just aren't satisfied, and so they're always looking for happiness. So I've come to realise now that happiness is not what people should be seeking; it's peace that they should be seeking. So what brings you peace? What do you do, and how do you know when you've achieved it? Or so what do you do?
Peace. I find my form of peace is it's getting outside, amongst nature. Is doing something that needs to be done in the garden, whatever. So that becomes my goal. That becomes my inner peace, because it's like getting your hands dirty.
Grounding yourself.
Grounding myself. You're pulling out weeds that no longer need to be there. That's part of yourself. And I find it very therapeutic there, just doing that. Because I can let go everything else, but I find this inner peace within me, that whatever's happening in my life, I'm able to just, boom, does not exist today or tomorrow. Because tomorrow's another day. Nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow, but it certainly does not exist today. You never go back. But that's my inner peace. And I find it works for me. Where I can take a deep breath and I'm in my element. I can talk to anybody. Some people say I'm crazy, but it doesn't matter. I do talk. I'm talking to whatever I'm doing. And somehow that inner answer comes back to you in such a peaceful way that I get it. I get it, and I thank them for that. And so I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but that's mine. More so than sitting down, explaining yourself to somebody that really doesn't know where you're coming from. To me, it's easier with nature. So much easier, and to the whole universe, I call it. That whole
the universe.
Yeah. It's the universe. So all my nieces tease me about the universe, but that is so true. Yeah, because it's just them.
Yeah. And so you talk about the universe and nature and grounding. Do you believe in God?
I believe there is a God. I say it quite heartily because I saw something, and I call him my master. And to me, he's the master of all things, no matter what religion anyone follows. There was something I saw, and that's never ever left me. But I know I'm never alone. Always there.
Okay, switching direction again. If you could bring one person back into your life, who would it be and why?
I think my brother Ray.
I find that surprising.
Yeah.
Why?
Because him and I grew up so close, but we also parted, went different directions in our lives. The brother and I we always shared everything. We never heard anything from anybody, from either of us. We'd be honest, we help one another. But as life turns out, you all go different ways. But I caught up with that.
When you moved back home?
Yeah, and it was amazing. Nothing had changed. We got older, but everything was... Yeah, we got older, but nothing else had changed. It's like we picked up from where we left off. Yeah, and it's that confidence, confidentiality, everything that we shared. It was coming out again as we're getting older. The real feelings, the real pains, yeah. And that was amazing to spend that time with my big brother.
Yeah, because he's passed now, and has it been a year that he's been gone? And he passed, just for the record, he had cancer. What did he have?
On his liver. No, he ain't. Yeah, that happened very quickly with the brother, and just complaining of a sore back. That's what I mean. It happened so quickly. 1 minute he's there, next minute he's gone. And so for me, I would have to say it's my brother. Also in saying that, was having a son. Supposed to go and stay with his uncle, ended up with me. The very thing that my brother didn't want, okay? But at the end of the day, so there's a lot there, and we were able to talk about it openly. That's what I mean. And, and for my brother to thank me, couldn't thank me enough, but there's nothing to be thankful for. It is what it is. I loved having him, and yes, I call him my boy, everything, yeah. But, yeah, and his father was happy, and we spoke about that, so. And, we talk about how he felt when he went home, and why he had so much anger. But, this is what we were talking about, how he loved Mum, really loved Mum, and why he was like that. So I missed that because we would go down the beach, have fish and chips, and just laugh about what we used to get up to, and then, what could have been. Yeah, what could have been. But hey, satisfied what is. Yeah.
Let me have a look. What, if you were to join me on this journey, and whatever that looks like in terms of tracing back history, or learning about even your siblings, or tracing the travels of our family heritage, our ancestors, what would you want to learn? What would you want to know most, so that if I was to come across it, or if I had the opportunity to seek and find that information, what would you want to know?
I think you need firstly to know Nanny and Koro's side, very much so, because there's both sides of your Nanny and your Koro, their lineage, and also your cousins, because you meet people, you don't know how you're connected, so it's really important to know that lineage, all those sort of things, because somewhere down the track, something will come up and you don't know. But I think it's really important to learn your whakapapa, like Dad and Mum, even your mum's side. And it's like Mona, yeah, the connection, the connection there with her father, not only to us but to the Rukuata side too. Yep. So there you go, there's that connection. So it's really important to know who they are, cousins, how they fit, yeah. And you find that it'll all stem back to your grandparents, or like to your dad, on dad's side, yeah, and back to your grandparents. So, and I think it's really important because I know my children themselves, they know all their Rukuata side. They know their aunties and uncles on their mum's side, but not too sure about Koro's side. Beyond that, so because there's a lot of cousins and aunties out there that are also linked, but I guess one thing at a time.
I think because what I find most exciting about this is to learn exactly that, and what sort of spurred it on is that when Joe left, it was quite evident of how well he was connected with different parts of the family, and through whether it's having their contact number and making contact with them, and the messages that came back to him. But I grew up with some of these cousins, and I haven't talked to them in years, and yet he's got this relationship that's like awesome.
He's like a telegraph wire, and that was Joe. Joe loved doing that. And I would say that was his role as the eldest muko, one of the eldest mukos that took upon himself to do that, to make himself known to the cousins. And so that you had that appall. They had that appall with him, where he could just send them a message, get an answer back, and then also explain who they are. So that's it. And I find that in my own children, they don't know. I don't blame them because I haven't been around them long enough to know. They know of them, but don't know. Okay, that's mum's cousin, but hello, that's your auntie, sort of thing. Yeah.
Even with their understanding of who Nani and Koro was, it's usually through what other people say. Like Mark has a relationship with them, but doesn't really have the memories to follow it. But he has a very strong connection with them. So I have an appreciation for that side of things as well. Okay, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want your legacy to be? And because my father, he's always in the pursuit of big things, and he's always wanted to make sure that his girls are okay in terms of money and all that sort of stuff. And I've tried to tell him before that that's not necessarily your legacy. Your legacy is that you've taught us how to work hard and be compassionate and that sort of thing. So what would you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered for?
I think the best that you could ever be. The best
version of you.
Of you itself, no one else, is to be the best version of yourself, because that's who you are. Okay, you might get diverted, but at the end of the day, you are who you are, and you have a voice, and don't be afraid to use it, and to hear and to be heard. Okay, to be heard, most important, but also have ears to hear, to listen.
Awesome. Now we haven't. You've got. So you were married to Uncle John, but now you've got another man. So I don't want to leave him out because he is part of your life. So, Mr. Huku, Mr. Huku, what does he mean to you?
Oh, not a lot at the moment.
Yeah, 4 months, 4 months.
Yeah, because I'm busy concentrating on something else. But he changed everything for me.
How?
Learning to live again, to be myself, to have a voice, believe it or not. He made me aware of it, and never to be afraid of it. Yeah, so, and that's what I've done. Now the roles are different. Yeah, so I remember, you see. Yeah, but I learned to laugh again. I learned to be happy. I learned to like who I am. I guess it's been a long time since I've had that. And yeah, that's what he did to me. He brought into my life just like that. Wasn't supposed to. I couldn't get rid of him. He was just there. And he's still there. He could sing, he could sing all that, he's with your dad and everything else. Yeah, I know they're all lucky. Yeah. But it opened up a whole new world after Uncle. Yeah. I guess that's what I missed, because I get where Uncle was coming from too, Uncle John. He certainly took care of his family.
Different time, different era, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I had a life where it was just me. I went out, it was just me. So, but then all of a sudden there was this other man, and he was there, and it was like, he scared the shit out of me. Yeah.
Because you're not ugly, eh? Yeah.
No. I know, I'm not ugly. But you don't want to get me to the point where I can be. No.
I confirm that.
No, but somehow you're still in my life, yeah. And to me, it's a good balance. And I know I get spoiled. I really get spoiled. Yeah, he does. And yeah, I play on it. I love it. Yeah. and I like being taken care of. And he shares everything with me. With me,
Sometimes too much.
yeah, too much, nothing. Oh, God, right. But yeah, it's been a bit of a struggle, but no, it's just part of life. Yeah.
Okay, last question. I want you to look down the camera, and I want you to leave a message for whoever's going to watch this, with the intention of knowing that generations, when you're gone, when I'm gone, are going to be watching this. So what do you want them to know about you?
What do I want you to know about me?
Joey.
But that's not hard, that's not really hard, because I've had a lot of people say, oh man, I can't wait till you go, I'm going to tell them what you used to get up to. And I got so many stories, I don't know where to start. But hey, that's their privilege. I don't really care what happens. But it's been really good to do something like this. I've never had to sit down and talk about my life, because to me that's very private and to some extent, because it comes out in drips and drabs. But I really enjoyed this morning with the Neecy. I hope it's inspired you somehow, because life is to be lived, life is to be enjoyed. Even the ups and downs, we all go through that. We all go through life with, if we didn't have any trials or tribulations, we learn nothing, we gain nothing. Even if we trip over our feet, there's a reason for it. So it's how we handle things that, you either want it to become better or not. It's how we handle it and how we cope with it. It's the same. It's like when you lose someone, and that's horrendous, somebody that's close to your heart. So it's the same thing. What do you do to counteract that? And you've got to come back to yourself in a situation. Times have changed, but I think you've got a lot of wonderful people around you. You overcome anything. But the most important of all, believe in who and what you are, and believe in you, to love yourself, because not everybody's going to tell you they love you, but why do we wait for others? Just say it to yourself, I love me, and that's a start, is to be able to love yourself, to be able to love others. How can we give of ourselves if we don't like who we are? Because that really has no meaning to think we can help someone else if we can't even help ourselves. And that's going really deep, is to be able to love who we are, regardless of our upbringing. We are good people. Yeah, we are good people. Yeah, some of us have a traumatic time, but we're still human beings, and we put on this planet for a reason. So for whatever, I just like to say, get on with it. Move on, don't hang around, enjoy it. And so that is my whakaaro today. So I'm going to say, no, catch you later.
Cool. All right. We're going to end it there, and thank you to my auntie. It was beautiful. And see you later.
See you later. No,
Can't even stop it. my cameraman's gone.
We just let it roll. Oh, well done.